you about ready to go?
Missed it.
Are you ready for next? You want to be next or you want to wait one more?
I'll sit there and read a poem, and you can have the whole stage.
What? Oh, okay, so you're going to go, are you ready to read? Are you ready to read?
Yes.
Okay, so let's,
You ready to
Chris, you're
make
absolutely marvelous.
Oh, thank you, Minerva.
And
Thank
it's
you
a
so much.
universal language.
It's a universal language. Dance. It really is.
And everybody got it, no matter what language they speak.
That's right, that's right. Well, thank you, Minerva, very much for having me. What's that?
What was the music?
The music, it's a compilation of 2 songs, 2 pop songs. So, yeah.
Thank you. It's great.
We want something like this? I can make you one.
You want me right here? I can.
Well, what, how she,
I'm going to move over here. I can take this chair over there.
what,
This chair. Robert, you have my, this is Edith's purse. And what's that? Hers? That's hers. Okay, here, let's have her purse. Can you give me a glass of red? Yeah, can you get me a glass of red wine? I'm going to go over here. And Susan's going to be there.
how's this working? Okay, the video system, yeah. Sorry it's late, I had to get the tape.
Let me see if they hers right here on the floor.
There's a chair over there.
No, it's very fun.
Are you seeing this?
Just that fun for you.
You too, Robert?
Yeah.
Where? All over. Everywhere.
No count it.
Hey, come here.
You're going
Here with that guy.
Shall we try to distract him?
Warmed up, but.
I can hold him on my lap.
You were having a great day.
Yeah, okay.
Is there a one change?
I was gonna watch.
How are you?
I think he's gonna dance with you. Perform with you. Okay. Melissa, how do you call herself? Melissa what? Melissa Wu. Wu. Melissa Wu and Edith Stephan.
And Aeon.
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 Melissa Wu.
Didn't know.
Aeon.
What?
Wu. And Edith Stephan. Can I see how
The name of this thing is?
is Sing the Body Image. Edith will read Sing the Body Image. And Melissa will do movie. Are you all ready, Susan?
You're not gonna be as
Yeah.
good as him.
That's right, that's right. Okay.
They'll be performing.
On stage.
Sing the body image. Soar, soar, soar. The mountain is small, limitless, limitless, limitless. Bottom is images, remaining still, silent, striking, still and awakening, pulling at sleep, loving the reaching out. Into the everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. The everyday reaching out into the dream, the dream, the dream. Dream is of ever-ending space. Never stopping. Never asking, always flowing, and the dancer, philosopher of more every day in the world, sings the body image of being completely alive and completely painting pictures in suspension of this membered memory. Pull out the earth's evolving spirit and crush, crush, crush in with gentleness and black out the mirror of yesteryears and shout for nowhere. Stop the mystery. Rob the world's lethargy. And run. Turn. Leap, twist, reach, fall. And fall. And run and twist and fall and reach into, grip the ring, the cord. Twist and ring. Silence. Screaming, silence, screaming, scream, silence. Stillness and the fading out.
Great performance.
Next, we're going to get a song. You all want to rush up and get some wine?
Far away. And then I didn't see it again. I was like down the street and saw you come up.
Most of his life to writing sacred music for the Lutheran Church. In 1717, he was hired by a Calvinist prince to be a music director and composer. And during this period of time, he composed some of the most famous secular instrumental work. One of these pieces was this set of 6 pieces for solo violin, which he called 6 solo songs for unaccompanied violin, because at that time the violin functioned primarily as a member of an ensemble. So what makes this set of songs so significant and important to violinists and composers is that Bach really expanded what was the conceivable potential for the violin. Though it was written in 1717, he died in 1750. The manuscript wasn't found until 1814. It was lost, and then it was found in St. Petersburg in a butter shop, and it was about to be used as wrapping for butter. I'm not sure who found it or how they did, but...
It's going to be more jazzy?
Hip
Well,
hop.
I mean, it won't be really too much different.
It's remarkable.
Do you, I mean,
Let's see this, let's be great.
Different tempo.
Bach, and you can't get enough. of
Different
Bach.
tempo.
yeah,
So basic.
okay,
Okay, here we go.
take two.
historian, researcher, and I've been living actually in Amman, in Jordan, for many years, since 2007, teaching, but I've been traveling most of my life. In December, day after Christmas, in Dakar, I was visiting my daughter, who was teaching in Senegal, because she grew up with hearing stories about me being in the Peace Corps in Nigeria. So she wanted to go to Africa. And I visited one of the most incredible places. It's an island called Gorée. It was the last stop for the slaves on the slave trade. And it's a very profoundly moving place to see this terrible building on the sea and the small cells where the slaves were kept, the shackles. They have a museum that has pictures, drawings of the slaves, and then the door, like an open window into the sea, which is the last door that the slaves were pushed onto the ships. It's a pretty big place because of thousands and thousands and thousands of slaves processed. And to see this and visit it is profoundly moving and upsetting. So I wrote this poem. To the ghosts of Gorée. The ghostly Gorée, the ghosts of Gorée gleefully laughed at my tears, for they knew you would send me away with your words to separate us. Some chains, sans chains, sons without whips or blood, child from mother, mother from child, as they were sent on ships of sorrow. My soul floats in tears, no gift, no kiss. Ghosts laugh with ghosts at the island's curse. Ghosts of Gorée, hear me, my heart is black. With the soot of history, the ashes of actions, unspeakable, unthinkable. My white skin shreds in anguish and sears in the hot sun. How, ghosts, how? My tears are mere gnats, buzzing hopelessly in the heat. My blood stagnant, oozing into the soil of my wounded mother, Africa. Thank you.
Beautiful. You ever say one Susan you want to do?
Yeah, yeah,
It's short, right?
yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Thank you, Jackie. That was very, very thoughtful. And we'll welcome Susan Young.
Thank you.
Nigeria. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna do Susan Young. It's always a problem.
Well,
Oh.
so the wrong woman here. Okay. I can read about species ABC.
Okay.
Okay. Because, Mr. 3-minute text, Minerva and me. I grew up in the housing project, so I read and Rutgers, and we're trying to prevent the 2 mega towers, the 2 bridges. They want to build, the developers want to build 3 towers about 100-story high. So the city planning committee,
Planning committee, yes.
City
Commission.
Planning Committee, instead of going to, the developers are going directly to the City Planning Committee as opposed to going to URLUP, the urban.
Yeah, they're going straight to the decision, get a decision, yeah.
Right. So anyway, that's another story. I think you would like to hear my species ABC. Writing in the stereotypical premise of my exotic, erotic Susie Wong norm that every white man fantasizes me to be, it would be easy to write romantically. I had been 8 years with species B, who could not impregnate me because of psychological insecurities. Like he's a Freudian shrink, and I believe in Jungian. Or his being Jewish, Russian, and Belgian with a Napoleon complex and lusting anything feminine. I was in love with species A, who is a great musician and a former neighbor before I met species B. Once species A had knocked on my door around 3 a.m. in the morning after I had come home from a taiko practice at Japan Society, performance at Japan Society. He wanted to talk to me, but I refused because it seemed inappropriate. Eventually, he invited me to a glass of wine and admitted his interest in me. I was shocked and eventually complied. I became his side interest because later he began messing with other girls and showed no interest. I met species B at an upscale French bar, La Lupe, when I was celebrating with a girlfriend after a hard day's work in the office. He called a week later for a date, and we saw my favorite Italian-made movie, We the Living, based on Anne Rand's book. After a few dates, species B became infatuated with me, and I became his lover. After a month, I was in love with him, species B. You know, no, I wasn't in love with him, but species B's divorce papers arrived. He moved me into his apartment after 1 month, you know, dating, blah, blah. It's like, in the meantime, species A started to show interest in me again, and I continued to see him. Finally, species B and I had a party where we invited the artists, my friends, and the scientists, his friends, co-workers. The married male scientists lavished a lot of interest to the female artists who were only interested in the rich Belgian cuisine that we were serving. At the party, I saw species A shakes hands with species B as if they had made a gentleman's agreement. Eventually, species A married an Armenian woman. He was from Arkansas, and he was a great musician because he did Charlie
Parker.
No,
Rodriguez.
Charlie.
Maybe.
You know, Channel 13.
Charlie
Rose's
Rose.
theme song.
Ah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Okay. Species B became tired of me and began his 7-year itch search for the younger, sexier Asian girls at the age of 45.
Oh.
I found photographs of Asian women on his desk and files of letters to them on his computer. They can be infuriating. He even said he was looking for an apartment for me, and instead I caught him walking down the street with another Asian woman while I was riding my bike around the city. What more, he even had his mother put in a mental institute where electric shock treatments were incorporated. The poor woman. She had been a World War II refugee from Belgium who lived in a French farm during the war. After the war, she came to America and wanted to be an artist. Then she got married. The relation got worse. When I lost my wonderful job at the American Museum of Natural History and my monetary resources was dwindling quickly, I wanted him to pay me cash for the painting he once said he would buy. He ignored my pleas and stated, "I remember you wanting me to go to the beaver pond." I got angry and waved a mat knife, in his face, whereby he repeated the statement, "I remember you wanting me to go to the beaver pond." because I'm from Portland, Oregon, and beavers.
Right.
Wonderful creatures. Instead of him, I slashed the painting he would buy. I felt better and went to see Patricia Winter's performance at New Eureka Poets Cafe with a musician friend, Andrew Volotovsky. The next morning, Andrew had called me. I woke up and the boyfriend entered with 4 cops. I told Andrew and hung up. Species B had me arrested for threatening him with a mat knife. Pataki had just signed a bill about harsh treatments to victims of violence. Oh boy. Okay. Of domestic violence for men. I stayed in the tombs overnight. Eventually the case got dismissed and he placed all my belongings into storage. Homeless and jobless, I had some friends who cared, and eventually I got on my feet again to meet Species C lover, who was tall and sexually gratifying after taking his dosages of Viagra with his alcohol. Oh my God.
Can I add to this story?
What? Minerva saved me too. She had to go to the...
She got out of prison and went to Andrew's apartment. He didn't have a girlfriend then. So he called me, he said we have to meet with Susan and take care of her, what is it, the order of protection. Your boyfriend got an order of protection against you.
Right.
When you have an order of protection, it means you've committed a crime that you will be tried for, and the other person who's protected maybe committed a crime. So she had to go to court for the crime. So we talked with her for a long time, and I got a hold of some information that I thought could get the thing dismissed. And I called a friend who worked for the city who said, don't ever tell him when you talk to me, I have no right to tell you how you can get off. But the friend said, you can get an adjournment with consideration for dismissal, A, C, D, if you bring up certain information and they will dismiss the charges. So we went to the prosecuting attorney. Andrew had to give his knife over, his little Swiss Army knife, and then get it back later. And we sat there with the prosecutor and I said, you're going to give me an ADC for Susan. And he said, oh no, we never give that. And he turned to another prosecutor and said, we never give ADCs, do we? To people with, and the guy said, no, never, never, never. And I said, well, let me tell you, this guy got her to leave her apartment and move in with her. And then he was running around with other women. And then he did this and he did that and the other thing. And I said, he follows her around, even though he has an order of protection. He goes where she goes, like to her poetry place, which is her place. He goes there and he communicates with her and he tried to get her a job. And the prosecuting attorney said, that's nothing, that's nothing. I said, well, there's just one other thing. I said, you're not going to, everyone thinks he's a really nice guy because of this, but I don't think he is. But I'm going to tell you one last thing. And I said, you know, he claimed that she's his wife and got health insurance for her on his plan.
The marriage license.
So I'm talking to the assistant prosecuting attorney goes, oh, he said, just a minute, he called up your friend and he said, did you do this, did you do that? Did you put her on the health insurance? And he said, yes. And then he hung up, he said, I think I can get you the ADC. So we met you in court, and you had a court-appointed attorney who was late, and I said, go up and tell him you want to talk to him. So she came back and said, he won't talk to us. I said, go up and look him in the eyes and say, you are my attorney, you must come out in the hall, and you must talk with us. So the court-appointed attorney went out in the hall with us, and he said, oh, well, he said, there's no problem to this case, she's going to get a dismissal. I said, thank you. So we went inside, and I said, Susan, don't say anything but yes or no. Because she was saying, oh, look at that cute attorney. There's a nice-looking guy. I said, yes or no. There's not another word you know other than yes or no. So she goes up there, and the judge lady says, well, she said, the prosecuting attorney said that we can give you an adjournment with dismissal, you know. But she said, don't commit a crime in the next 6 months or we'll hold you responsible for your threatening to assault your boyfriend. And she was free, she was home free. And I said to her, don't ever let him come anywhere near my studio. she brought him
But he begged
to the
me.
Christmas dinner, and he went up to my
begged
daughter
me.
and said, oh, that's a beautiful long red scarf. Can you make one 20 feet long? Here's my card. So I said to my daughter, tear that card up. And so we had a trial for Susan. We wouldn't let her come and draw in the studio for 6 months, and then she could come back in and draw again. I said, the only thing I asked for getting you not thrown into prison was that you not let this piece of shit man come anywhere near me,
Sorry.
and you brought him right down to the...
Well, he begged me, you know, I mean, I couldn't help. When he begs, he begs.
When he what?
When he begs, and you know.
Just say no.
She's just a girl who can say no.
I know.
Anyway, that's a famous story.
Oh, thank you.
And Andrew and I became better friends over it because, you know, Andrew was saying, oh, you're talking so much, don't talk so much. I said, I've got to put out everything for the district attorney to say, oh, no, that's not enough, that's not enough. I knew what I was doing. Then finally I said, you know, you can't really have this guy as a witness because he perjured himself, committed a federal crime by claiming that you were his wife and getting health insurance. He should have gone to jail for it. And that other things too.
I know, and he stole money. Joint account?
Well, that was very nice.
Thank you. Okay, now let's socialize.
Yay.
Hey, didn't get here yet. What time is it?
Okay.